In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can add a new user on Linux and also set some groups and permissions for that user, and that directly from the terminal. And so first, let's get a quick recap of our actual current user here. So if I do cd, here you can see I am connected as the head user. Okay, that's the host name, head-vm, but that's my user. Okay, so you can do who I to see I'm the user head. I do cd, I go to my home directory, I do pwd. That's my folder, my directory for the home directory. And so if I go to cd/home, you can see I can do ls. I just have for now one user, which is the head user, and so everything that I'm going to work on as the head user, I'm going to do that in my head folder. And now we are going to add a new user and also make sure that we have a home directory for that new user. So, well, you can create a new user from anywhere you want. And to do that, you do sudo add user. Let's name the user test. And don't forget to use sudo to get admin privilege, because you can't just add a user as your normal user, which is not an admin. So you press enter. You have to put your password as the head user. And you can see this is going to add a user test. We're going to talk about group later. You can see a new home directory for the user test, so /home/test. And you have to provide the password for the user test. So let's put a password and retype the same password. So that's a new password. Then you can just press enter here, it doesn't really matter, enter, and then you have a new user. So to see that, let's go to cd/home. We have a new test directory here. Now, if you want, you can also change the user password, okay, for the test. You can simply do sudo passwd test, press enter, and you are going to need to give a new password. So you are going to change the password of the user test. Okay, so I put a new password, the same, and so I have updated the password of the user test. Okay, and now if I want to change here the user, so instead of being connected as the head user, I want now to be connected as the test user. So I'm going to do su test. I press enter, and I have to give the password of the test user. So I give the password I have previously set, I press enter, and now you can see I am connected here as the test user. I am still on the head VM hostname, okay, the machine named head-vm, but I am connected as a test user. And now if I do cd, you can see I'm in my home directory, but my home directory is different. It's not /home/head, it's /home/test. And so now, well, as the test user, you can do whatever you want in your home directory. Okay, you can create files, folders, etc., and just do all your work inside that home directory. Now let's say you want to update your software as the test user. So you can do, for example, sudo apt update. Okay, you put the password for the test user, and well, you can see we have an error. You can see test is not in the sudoers file. So basically, when you create a new user, it doesn't have admin privilege. So if you want to use sudo, so commands that need to use sudo, you won't be able to do that. So that's a very important security feature, because when you create a new user, maybe you don't want to give them admin privilege, okay? You just want to restrict their use to the home directory, and that's pretty much it. But now what if you want to give the test user admin privilege, so the test user can also, for example, update packages, install packages, etc. Well, for that, I'm going to come back to the head user. So I'm going to do su head, and I'm going to put the password for the head user, and I'm back to head user. And now let's see why we couldn't do that with sudo. If I do groups, group is going to list the groups for my current user. So I can, as you can see, I am the user head, so I have a group named head also, and I have different groups I am in. One of them is the sudo group. So if I am in the sudo group, I am going to be able to use the sudo command. Now if I do groups test, you can see the test user is just in the test group and not in any of those groups. So what I can do is I can add the test user to the sudo group. And to do that, I need to use, of course, a user that already is in the sudo group, okay? And so as the head user, to be able to add the test user to the sudo group, I'm going to do sudo usermod and then -a for append, -g uppercase for group, and then I'm going to choose whatever group I want, so sudo, and then the username test. So this is going to add the test user to the sudo group. I press enter. Now if I do groups test again, you can see the test is now in the group sudo. So let's go back to test user with su test. I put the password for test user, and you can see now, so if I do groups, you can see this is a groups for the test user. I'm in the sudo. And so if I do sudo apt update, and I put my password, this is working. Now what if you want to remove the user test? So to remove the user test completely, you have first to log out of test and go back to the head user or any other user that has also the admin privilege, okay, which is in the group sudo. So if I am in the group sudo, I will be able to remove other users. So to do that, I'm going to do sudo userdel for user delete, and then the name of the user, so test. That's going to remove the user test, but that's not going to remove the /home/test directory for the user. So if you want to keep the home directory, you just do that. If you want to remove the home directory, you can add -r option. So I'm going to press enter, put my password, and that's going to remove the test user. So maybe you're gonna have some logs here, but you can see now if I go to /home ls, I don't have any test user. If I try to do su test, well, the user test does not exist. So that's going to remove completely the user test. And note that this is, so you have to be careful with that, because once the user is gone, and with this, once the home directory is gone for that user, well, it's definitely gone. So you can't just come back to the step before. So make sure that you know what you're doing when you delete a user and the home directory. If you liked this video, subscribe to get more tutorials like this in the future. Also check out my online courses so you can learn Linux command line step by step in an efficient way by practicing and directly going to the point. Links in the description. Thank you for watching. See you in the next tutorial or in one of my courses.